There you go.
Oh, that's quite a voice. Okay. Well, welcome to the May 6th, 2025 session of TAPR-HamSCI technical session. My name is Dave, KB0S, and this week um, I've been getting ready. I have my talk mostly written for the Tapper Forum, and Paul, I don't know if he's here tonight, but he sent me a copy of his talk, so they were going to be ready. And then Phil is going to be speaking at the AMSAT Tapper banquet. So, uh, so you do have to have a ticket, and you have to buy it before you go if you want to go to the AMSAT Tapper banquet. So um, just be aware of that.
Yeah.
Next on the list is Nathaniel, who was Afri a minute ago, but now is Nathaniel.
Hi. Yes, I got that fixed. Thank you, Dave. Let's see, it's been a busy week, mostly just working on university stuff. This is the last week of classes and the last week of finals and the last week before Hamvention, and it seems like everything has to happen all at once. There are multiple student theses that need to be defended and reviewed and edited, and lots of projects and board of trustees presentation for the university, and everything just has to happen all at the same time. So we're working through it. It's coming along, but I think everyone at the university feels the same way right now. So back to Ned.
Okay. Next on the list is Dave, KD0EAG. Go ahead, Dave.
Hello. I've been working on schematics and documentation and other vital topics, but nothing that's very exciting, just the usual struggle. And that's about it for me. I do have an easy USB FX10 development kit right here.
In front of your face, yes.
And I actually expect to have an FX20 before the end of the week, but just I don't know why that really interests us. But anyway, just plodding along.
Oh, is that it?
Yep.
Next on the list is Franco, K4VZ. Welcome back, Franco.
Hey, thanks, guys. I'll see you in Dayton in a couple of, actually, in 10 days now, over there. And this week I've been working, this week, in the last month or so, a couple of things. One that is probably less of interest to the group, but I wrote a dual tuner recorder for the SDR play. So you basically can record both streams in parallel for synchronization and for diversity reception, which is an interesting use. And I also studied a little bit on a format that I think Scott was also looking into called RF64, which allows you to put timestamps in samples. So it's a very good way to store information along with the stream. Number one. Number two, I've been also studying since probably Thursday or Friday, looking at the FX10, writing some code, putting together the samples, and I have some information maybe that we can discuss later after the first half of the meeting. Back to you, Dave.
Okay. Next on the list is David McGaw, N1HAC. Go ahead.
Excuse me. Good evening. Very exciting, the news about the availability of the new chips, and that doesn't keep us from working with the old chip as well to just try to replace the RX-888, of course. I do have a question. If one were to buy one of these eval boards, would the FX10 be the appropriate one at this point? FX20, we just don't need the bandwidth. I take it.
I would say
right.
Sorry. Go ahead, Dave.
I think that's probably right. I don't have any. I bought one, but that's just sheer self-indulgence. I don't see any important reason. Oh, and partly I wanted to know, any peculiarities, but but they look identical. They look to be identical and no real, but I would go for the 10. It's a bit cheaper and I don't
Right.
know what we want it for.
Is obviously the interface that we need.
Yeah, as a matter of
I
fact,
also want to,
buying them at this point doesn't really seem all that compelling, except for for really hands if you're doing some designing something, because at this point to connect to it, it has this 400 pin FPGA connector. That's the main way to talk to anything with it, and I'm not sure what until somebody builds something to connect to it. It's not very.
Yeah, I'll explain maybe a little bit after the first half what I found. If you have
we'll
patience,
talk
I'd
about
rather
that
let
later.
everybody speak.
Yeah, and I also know I was asked about the front end PGA. I haven't looked at length for something to replace what the RX-888 uses, but we know that the one that it has is quite noisy. So I'm sure they're better, and I'm perfectly happy to go out and look for that. Oh, and I also want to discuss the antenna project if we can. I was intrigued. That's one word for it. That Nathaniel mentioned that the SAS uses magnet wire for its elements, which that may not be ideal, but we'll get into that in the technical discussion. One other thing I'll just point out, my father passed away last night. It was expected. He made it past his 96th birthday. But his heart finally gave out, and we seem to have our ducks in a row at the moment, which is probably unusual for such circumstances. So back to Nat.
Well, our condolences, David.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm very sorry, David.
And let us know how you'll be your availability and things if there are issues.
There shouldn't be any issues there. Like I say,
Okay.
I think we already have our dotted the I's and crossed the T's. So
Okay.
thanks. And I will be at Dayton.
Okay. Well, look forward to seeing you there. Next on the list is Owen, KD3ALD. Go ahead, Owen.
Good evening, everybody. I don't really have anything else to say other than I'm stressed about finals, but I'm just here to really listen along tonight. That's about it. But back to you.
Okay. Next on the list is Phil, K9Q. Go ahead, Phil.
Okay, let's see. As I said earlier, I have to get prepared for Dayton. Before that, I've been redoing the way FT8 and FT4 skimming work. I just pushed up some code last night to do that. Other than that, I guess I'll listen.
Okay, very good. Next on the list is Michael Howen. Can he speak? He's traveling in a truck right now.
He can speak. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm on my way back home from Fargo, visiting my mom this week. So, I didn't do a heck of a lot up there, except I did swap out antennas. I put a DXE antenna up there instead of a loop on the ground. But it appears to be behaving better, thankfully. But I did discover or identify the presence of, but not identify the nature of a huge noise pump that intermittently just suddenly appears. I think it's something out of a neighbor's house. So, and I left in a rush last week. I didn't take the field probe to, or have time to look around. I was doing a lot of chores for my mom while I was up there. So, anyway, I should be home in about an hour. Then I'm going to get some sleep because I've been on the road since 9 o'clock this morning. So kind of tired.
Well, very good. Very good. And be safe.
Yeah. Thank you.
So next on the list is Tom N5EG. Go ahead, Tom.
Okay, good evening, Dave. Good evening, everyone in the group. I just got the FX10 kit here this afternoon, so we got a couple of them floating around and doing some digging and looking into things. Other than that, not too much. So back to the group.
Okay. Next on the list is Scott Newell in 5TNL. Go ahead, Scott.
Hey, no progress to report this week, and I'll probably drop something in the chat. I'm looking for a little hardware advice and a little DSP advice, and that's it for me. Thanks.
Oh, okay. Well, hopefully people will be able to answer your question. Next on the list is Gary, AF8A, and he ought to be a busy fellow getting ready for Dayton.
Hey Dave, good evening everyone. Yeah, been working on some marketing collateral for the booth and whatnot. I think things are in pretty good shape. Nathaniel, I did send you a PDF. If you've got time to have some of those flyers printed, great. If not, Ed F-Jack said he could take care of it too. So don't kill yourself. Just let us know on the end of the week. Other than that, I'll see you all in T-10, I guess. Back to net.
Yes. And I do want to mention our forum for TAPR is like 2 year. The announcement on the Hamventions page is 2 years old. And I have contacted various Hamvention officers, and so far they haven't gotten it changed yet. So it's listing talks that are not going to happen. And it will be Paul, Elliott, and myself talking. So,
Gary, how many copies did you want?
Ed asked for 300, so that's what he asked for.
Okay. Next on the list is Dave Julian, WB9YIG. Go ahead, Dave.
Evening, folks. Nothing much here. Survived my fishing trip and getting ready for Dayton. Looking forward to it. Hope to see some of you guys there. That's all. Back to net.
Very good. Look forward to seeing you. Next on the list is Dave, W6OQ. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Good evening. Yeah, things are moving along on my home remodel. I got a contractor, so I might not have to be doing so much of it anymore. And first approval from the city, and the rest of it's on the contractor, so that's all good. Looking forward to whatever we're going to do for the RX-888 replacement and so on. Perhaps somewhere I'm very technical, so probably somewhere in there I'll be able to lend a hand with something. Oh, and I'm going to be at Dayton, so if you guys are
very good
for dinner some night, who should I talk to?
Well, stop by either the HamSCI or the TAPR booth, and there'll be plenty of us. We're right next to each other, so.
Right. Okay, so I'll see you on Friday up there then.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Next on the list is Rob, and he checked in, but is he still with us, or do you have any comments, Rob? Probably not. He's driving out to. Okay. Next after that is Bob in 5BRG.
Hello,
go ahead, Bob.
everyone. Nothing to report here, just checking in tonight. Go back to you, Dave.
Okay, thank you. Next on the list is Jonathan, KC3EEY. And Jonathan, can you keep this one a little short so we can get through the list and then talk later?
Hi, everybody. Sure. I've been working on one of the problems that I've been having with the thin client is that I can't get the serial port to detect the pulse per second. I don't know why. I've done everything the way it should be, but I can't figure it out. So I put that on the back burner. I've been working very closely with Paul, and he has done a wonderful job on this GPS interface, and I am he may have some screenshots to actually demo of the renderings. Very, very nice. And I've also been working on the schematics for the VLF shack board, or the VLF interface board, as well as the H-field loop receiver preamp. I figured I would draw up the schematic, and because that might be relevant in the future. I did plan on building one for building one Manhattan construction, but there may be some need to have a board actually made. But other than that, I've been plugging along, and everything's going quite well. That's all I have. Back to the net.
Okay. Next on the list is Bob, WB0VGD.
Well,
Go ahead,
good
Bob.
evening. Yeah, good evening there, Dave. And Dayton's always exciting. I'm not going this year, but I'll be in Italy. So darn.
Oh, well,
My
that's
wife
pretty
wanted to go to
exciting.
Italy, so I couldn't go to Dayton. So yeah. But and I also wanted to wish Owen good luck on his finals there, his exam. So good luck with that, Owen. So I just made some excellent progress in my ionospheric sounding using my Flex radio and Kiwi SDRs. I actually have post-processed some waveforms, all using citizen science, no fancy lab equipment. And I've been able to successfully separate, a terrestrial propagation versus skywave, and watching the time variability on it. And I'm in the midst of, I'm going to do a write-up on it. I'd like to present it at some point if folks are interested. But it gives citizen scientists access to channel sounding, which I think is pretty cool. And I think this is something that could also be extended. These ideas could be extended to the WWV project as well. So I have some thoughts on that as well. So, but at any rate, good progress, excellent waveforms, driving my wife nuts because I've been staying up until about 1 o'clock in the morning doing channel sounding on the 60-meter band. So having fun with that.
Well, it sounds good. We look forward to hearing about this, and look forward to some year seeing you at Dayton. So next on the list is Bill Engelkey. Go ahead, Bill.
Thanks, Dave. Yeah, still some struggles with trying to figure out the decommissioning schedule for the current personal space for the station network server. I get different answers depending upon who I talk to, so that's causing me no end of stress, but we'll work through it, I guess. Also, I've been managing getting the disks from the people who have been running Grape 2s and doing some of the import work on that. And one person sent back his entire system saying his health didn't permit him to run it any longer. So since I had taken my RX 888 down to use the B-Link in it for the import work, I fired up this Grape 2, created a new node, and it's collecting data. And I have a prototype that does uploading. So if you can get 10, 12 megabits of upload speed, you can, and actually even 8 megabits of upload speed, you can upload from a Grape 2. I'm able to upload a day's worth of observations on the Grape 2 in about 3 hours. I don't think that's bad for 4 gig. So anyway, that's about all from here. Back to Ned.
Okay, very good. Next on the list is Paul, WB6CXC, and Paul is going to be talking with me in the TAPR forum on Friday morning.
Yeah, hi, good evening, everybody. Yeah, I've been preparing for that. I think I've got it pretty well figured out. I don't exactly have a script, but I have notes that will remind me what it is I think I'm supposed to talk about, you know. If anyone's curious, wants to see what I'm planning beforehand, I can put up a link to, I showed this on the TAPR, TAPR board forum, and I had a few comments. Nobody wants to tell me that it sucks, so I guess that's, either they're being polite or that's a good thing. Yeah, I've been working with Jonathan on the GPS unit, and since he asked, I will show you just really quickly. I thought, yes, here we are. Let me just show you what the front panel's kind of, artist rendition. Come on, I click on share. There we go. Yeah, that'll be a good one. And okay, so you can see those?
Yes.
No, I don't know.
Face plates are what you showed.
Yeah, that's what I'm showing. Front and rear panels, just GPS antenna, place for an RS-232 jack, place for a power connector, a place for a basically trim pot adjustment. This is a hole for quarter-inch phone jack, and these are the 3 little holes for the 3 indicator LEDs that'll blink and flash depending on when you're receiving pulse per second outputs to the GPS chip and when your serial port has got activity. So I think we're coming up with a pretty good plan. I've got the board, got the schematic, got the board laid out. I think just a matter of deciding to pull the trigger on that. Before I do, I want to triple check the faceplate cutout dimensions and orientations to make sure everything's going to fit. Don't want to have to take a nibble or drill to the faceplate in order to have the holes fit. So I've been going to bring some stuff to Dayton, some whisper sonds or a whisper sond and other related gear, and going to be able to demonstrate it kind of like I did last year, and really looking forward to it. And so back to Net.
Very good. Next on the list, I think, is Jim before BSE. Go ahead, Jim.
Not a whole lot to report from here. I've been actually on some non-ham projects, getting my feet wet again into some hydroponics, which I did a long time ago, but it's all changed since then. I am getting close to being able to monitor VLF, though. Hopefully next day or two I'll get that done. Back to Net, K4BSE.
Okay, and it seems I jumped over Jay Schwartz. Jay, go ahead.
Yeah. Howdy, everybody. Let's see now. Let me get things turned on there. Howdy, everybody. I joined a few minutes late, just at the end of an announcement. Did somebody become a silent key or their relative or friend?
David's father.
Yeah, that
David
was my
Goss.
father who passed away last night.
Ah, okay. Condolences to the family.
Thank you.
So amateur radio wise, absolutely nothing really of announcements. Just getting ready to make the pilgrimage here next week. So I'll see you all down there.
See you
Back to
there.
Ned.
So I believe I've called on everybody on the list. Anybody else not been called? So we're open for general discussion. Nathaniel, did you have something you wanted to start with?
No, I think things are going along as well as I could hope they would go for now. So I think we'll just let people have the discussion they want to.
Yes.
I do want to say that Owen and I had a special request for Rob, although he's probably super busy, but when he gets done fixing the Whisper Demon site, we are looking forward to having that Whisper Demon upgrade so that this spots get saved to the temp directory. But I know there's a lot going on.
Okay, I've got a real quick question. Last week mentioned maybe setting up a mailing list or something for the RX 888 replacement project. Is there any conversation going on? I haven't seen it.
So no, I haven't set that up yet. I think I wanted to give Dave Witten a little bit of space and time to kind of work on what he was working on. So I'm letting him do that right now, and he'll reach out to people as he needs help.
Okay, again, I'm eager to at least look up, to watch while other people do all the work, or maybe even provide a little help myself.
Well, Paul, Dave, and I will be in the booth, TAPR booth, so you can have a face-to-face talk.
Oh, that's good. Look forward to it. Thank you.
Hey, Dave, if we have 5 minutes, I want to give an update on the FX10, so my findings and things like that, if you guys are okay with that.
Yes,
Okay,
go ahead.
so this is what I found out, and especially Tom probably is going to be very interested in that, is the following, okay? So Infineon released 3 examples, okay? One is an Hello World, which, as a world. Another one is something else, but the third one is an interface to a camera, okay? Now, the interesting part about that one is that it also interfaces using, hey, looking for me?
I need your voltmeter.
Okay. Okay, no, I'll be back. You guys go ahead, sorry. I'm back. My wife needed a voltmeter. Anyhow, so what I found out is that Infineon released an application note. I'm going to send the link in a second here, where they detail how their software and their FX10 is going to interact with an FPGA and a fast device like an FPGA. In their case, a camera, but in our case, I can see that being a whatchamacall, an ADC or multiple ADC. So I'm gonna send this link here now. And I've been reading that last night and partly this morning. And I think this is where probably we could start as a group to read how they did it and how it works. So that link I just sent. The other thing I found out is that their software in theory installs only under Ubuntu. I was able to run it under my Fedora. I wrote some notes for those that are interested in how to run it on a different computer. I also wrote notes how to run it with the latest version of the so-called Modus Toolbox instead of the previous one. So I made some changes. I even opened a pull request with them about that. The only piece they have not provided yet, and that's what we're discussing with Dave Witten right before the start, is the so-called GPIF designer. So basically, right now, there is only an example with 2 files, but they didn't provide the tool to create those files. So we are kind of in a pattern to figure out how it works. However, based on the picture in that application note and the file that I provided, I'm thinking about writing a Python code to do the creation of those include files automatically from a state machine. But I'm still, I just got the idea this morning, so I'm probably going to work in the next few days. So hopefully I get something out to play ahead of the game. But I think we have a lot of things going on, especially if Dave or someone who has an FX10 can run the samples, the Hello World and the sample, we can see, make sure everything is good to go. Especially looking also forward to Tom, because I saw he just received his, and I think is really into that. One last thing is the design that you see there will require an FPGA, so I don't think there is a way to avoid that. It's not going to be like the X888. The reason is because apparently in order to get the maximum speed, you have to send a so-called training sequence to the FX10, and the training sequence needs to be programmed in FPGA. However, they have a repository. All their code is in GitHub. They have a repository with FPGA, so I'll provide probably tomorrow a link to the group about that, so we can just start looking how they did it.
Okay.
That's about it. Try to be quick. Sorry, go
Yeah.
ahead, Tom.
Franco, you mentioned something about the version of the software kit needing to be one earlier than what I could find. Where
Right.
did you find the 3.4 version?
It's in the site. You just link previous version or something like that. I can send you a link too.
Okay.
Or better yet, I created a super manifest that allows you to run with 3.5. So I can send you. No,
Okay.
I'm running with 3.5 here. So that's why I've said there's no reason to go to 3.4.
Okay, excellent.
And even better, since they came with the compiler GCC 11, I switched to use GCC 14. So I'm running the latest version. So I can send some information, Tom, to the group about
Okay.
that. So yeah,
Awesome.
I've already found all this part over the weekend.
Okay, great. Yeah, I looked
I
at
had a
the data sheet
Hmm?
and saw the bit about link training, and I think I figured out how to do that.
Perfect. If you read that, do you already see the application note? I said you already read it, the one I just sent. That's probably where all the good stuff is.
Okay, I looked through the data sheet. It was a little vague on training, but I think we could puzzle through it. I've got that app note. I just haven't read it yet.
Yeah, read that because there's also a state machine. There's a lot of stuff that I think we can use, and we can discuss a few more details in a bit.
Okay, good. Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Yeah. The one last thing is the state machine allows you in this case, this new version, to build two state machines. So I suppose that in theory you could use FX10 for both receive and transmit. So do something like pure signal if you wanted to, if you have ADCs and DACs, because you can work in part with those. That's an interesting possibility that the FX3 couldn't do. I mean, we tried with Phil Harman, but we couldn't get it to work that way.
Yeah, I noticed a big difference in the speeds supported between data going into the FX10 and data coming out. They're different speeds, max speeds allowed.
Any other questions or comments? And I'll keep updating. Maybe in Dayton we can have a discussion. Are you going to be there, Tom? Or
No, it's
Okay.
a difficult trip from here.
Okay, yeah. Back to you, Dave, if you want to talk about the antenna project and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I don't have any more things that I wanted to talk about. So
Now, someone
we're
mentioned the antenna thing, I
Yeah,
think. Who did?
I did that.
Oh.
Nathaniel mentioned that the SAS antenna uses magnet wire elements. Is that correct?
That's what it looked like to me. I don't know if that's 100% true. But I just looking at it very quickly.
Because yeah, for low frequencies, the sensitivity depends on actual capacitance, and magnet wire would not have a whole lot of capacitance to the open air. Usually use a thicker element for that.
Jonathan, you saw it more closely.
Yes. I believe Glenn definitely uses magnet wire, and when it was installed at your house, magnet wire was definitely used. In fact, I helped Elmer string the elements. What he did was he soldered two small pigtail wires, just regular hookup wire, to each of the antenna terminals on the preamp board. And then he soldered the magnet wire to the to those pigtails.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I'm wondering why you would use magnet wire because, as I say, a much larger element is generally used for E-field antennas, like 1/8 inch or something. And at the length that he's using, we've usually used what would be CB antenna whips, which are 8 feet long.
He may have an explanation for that. I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
you guys, I think that Glenn has a unique model of how antennas interact with and generate and respond to fields that differs significantly in from that presented by the traditional antenna modeling theory. So I can't tell you why he that is. I don't really understand that, but I think that his results suggest that it's quite successful and can for its purpose, right, which is a wideband application. So, but I think that your question really could only be answered by Glenn.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it might be interesting to try it both ways.
Well, the problem is that, as I understand it, is one of in his model, these the effects of adjacent conductive elements, and specifically that of the transmission line, right? Boy, it's hard to see that. The feed line, the Cat5 that feeds it, actually goes up. Right. It's only about well, Glenn says it needs to be 50. If the Cat5 is kept 50 wire diameters away from the lower element of the vertical downfall, that they do not interact. And so it does not, the Cat5 does not unbalance the antenna. And that is quite at variance. But
he's modified that, Rob. We discovered that there actually is a different effect that he did not initially factor in. And so now what we're doing is we're angling that Cat5 cable away. Not because there's any inductive interactance, but I think it was because it just absorbs some of the energy and it consequently interferes with the balance between the two elements.
Well, yeah, the capacitance would certainly throw it off.
Well, anyway, in Glenn's part of the reason mechanically why one of his antenna works is that that the effect is it maintains the common mode rejection, which is a key goal of his design. So as you can see from that that he has common mode rejection on the order of well, it depends upon the frequency, but it's the common mode rejection is tens of dB better than other antenna designs. So
right. Okay, well, it's worth further investigation, I believe. At higher frequencies, it doesn't make as much difference because you're using more of the wire than the capacitance, but at lower frequencies, it would extend its response.
I think Jonathan and Elmer can attest to the fact that the SAS works really, really well down to the 10 kilohertz region and below. So
okay.
but I don't know if you'll get a chance to talk with. I don't know. Elmer isn't going. I don't think Elmer's going to Hamvention. I'm not going. I don't know any of us that. And Michael, I don't think you're going. So I don't think any of us will be there in person to discuss it.
All right.
But we're still, this is still a research project more than a
It is.
proposal as an alternative. But I think that I think that Jonathan and we have seen the interactions between the field probe, the ELF antenna, and the DX engineering field probe, and so I don't think we have established a good antenna a set of antennas that satisfy all of the needs of all of the measurements we want to make. I wanted to, if Franco is still with us, Franco, Glenn pointed out, is he still there? I can't tell.
Yeah, Franco's here.
Okay.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah. This morning, Glenn pointed out a thread on your forum, which I had overlooked entirely, about Pavel Demi, who has been designing a 888 clone, open source clone.
Right.
Do you know the status of his efforts?
Not much. The only thing I know is that Pavel Demin wants to use a 10 gigabit fiber connection or something like that. So he doesn't want, at least is looking into a different way to connect. So that is going to be a little tricky because I don't think there is very option to put a 10 gigabit card on one of those mini PCs. At least I don't know how much it's going to cost or so on and so forth. But he's a smart guy because he's the one who wrote all the code for the Red Pitaya, SDR, and so on. So he's
right.
good at that. So I'm sure that he will do it.
Oh, good. Well, that's. I guess I saw a link in one of his postings but I've been so busy I haven't been able to even follow that link. I was Glenn chastised
Chastising?
that I hadn't been following your forum, and so I just wanted to make sure that Nathaniel and others were aware that there is this effort apparently ongoing from Pavel, who's done good work in the past. So.
And the other one interesting project there, I don't know if you saw it, is this German guy, Henning Paul. I don't know if you know him or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll send you the link to that one too. It seems like it has potential too.
Okay, well, as you weren't here last week, but there's a concern which may no longer be all that important, but a concern that we couldn't purchase the 888s from China for this grant. Couldn't even, because the grant monies cannot be used to pay for the tariffs. So, but I gather, Nathaniel, you found an Amazon source that has some. So.
Well, we're trying again. The suspicion that David McGaw has is that because they say they have a short ship time, they may already be in the United States, and maybe there's not going to be an import fee. We have tried to place the order today, and I will let you know sometime next week whether or not that was actually successful.
Okay. Okay. Well, let's see. I guess the other thing we could talk about for the group is our efforts to create the HamSCI VPN, so that group members, authorized group members, could gain access to the DAISY2 K9Q web pages, and then look at the radios and potentially, use it to get access to all of the SSH and organize things on the and develop on these machines, modify them. So I would ask, I sent you a note, Nathaniel, that I want to secure that server.
Okay.
So, and I think you have a, I think, Michael, did you provide WireGuard certificates to Nathaniel? I think, in any
No, I
case,
have not.
okay. Well, I think the first stage of this is for those of us, Michael, me, Nathaniel, Elmer has offered to help on some of the IP security features that we need. I think there's 4 of us or so that need to be able to SSH to the VPN droplet that you've created. In his experimentations, there's always a danger when you fiddle with IP tables that you could block yourself out. So, is there a back door? I mean, to that, I mean, if we somehow, is there
Yes,
some kind of console access through a web page or something?
I believe so. Yes.
Okay, because that's always I just, you just want to have a back doorway to recover in
Yes.
case you make a mistake. So, so in that case, I can encourage Elmer to go forward with his investigations. So this network, we want to be able to share it within the HamSCI community, but we also want to ensure that we don't expose the contributors and hosts sites to malicious intruders. And to that end, we need to be to ensure that there's only authorized people get access to it, and that even there they can't make mistakes that expose our DAISY sites to the malicious users outside. I think it's pretty straightforward, but anyway, I haven't had time to work on it, and I apologize, Owen and Nathaniel. With this Christ, I was going to work on anything, and then the Whisper Demon server 1, which is used by Whisper Rocks and Whisper.live, and everybody went down, and I thought we had a backup server, Whisper Demon 3. It is not a back. It turned out it isn't a backup. So I've gained I've enlisted Brett KG7RDR, who is a absolute expert on IT and routing and routers and so on. And he helped me bring up recover the RAID system, but WD1, and we're going to greatly secure it and then really ensure that we have redundancy and failover, so this doesn't happen once we're really out there gathering data. Anyway, I have arrived at Hurricane Electric, the Pier 1 co-location facility here in Fremont. So I'm gonna go mute for a little while until I get in there at the rack where the server is. Unless somebody has any questions for me before.
I think that all sounds good. Good luck with the fixing that, Rob.
Yeah, one of the RAID drives is barely coming up, and it's and others are barely coming up. So we've turned it off until I can copy all the data off, which is what I'm good. I have to put in a PCIe USB 3 card into the server. Then we got to copy out all the data off, and then we can start to. I'm going to put all new drives in, and we'll gradually replace the current drives with new drives as they arrive. So.
Will they let you in there with a phone? into Hurricane Electric?
Say that again.
Will they let you in there with a phone?
Oh yes. Oh yeah. I'll be in there. I'll probably be back with my laptop sitting in a rack. Yeah.
I've never been anywhere so paranoid in my life as when I went into Lakeside. Is it Lakeside? What's the one in Chicago? The old huge one. And that boy, it'd be easier to storm a military base.
This isn't quite so formidable. One interesting point is I'm told that this facility is the original Apple Macintosh manufacturing building from 1984. So
you should see if they have any leftovers.
No, nothing like that. No, so I haven't seen a Mac. I haven't seen an old Mac. I bring them in myself. That's what I'm using, but I don't see them. Okay, I'm going to mute myself and unload the car. So
good luck.
Good luck, Rob. And Bill, I saw you sent me an email today with various comments, and I saw that you sent it, but I'm very behind on emails.
Oh, no problem. I was just replying to, I think, Dave Swartz and Bill Blackwell about just a few things. It's nothing for this group to be concerned about.
Okay. And it looks like yes, that all sounds good.
Yeah, we're making progress. It's slower than I would like, but what isn't, you know?
I think everyone's got so much stuff going on. They're thinking about 10 different projects at the same time.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I think it's kind of like when Yogi Berra said, there's so many people that no one goes there anymore. It's kind of...
No one goes there, it's too crowded, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like that with projects.
Yeah,
We're doing so much that nothing happens.
Yeah, but you know what he also said? He said, when you come to the fork in the road, take it.
Yeah, but that's true. I tell you, because I've been there. There is actually his house is right at the top of the hill, and there's a road that forks this way, and you can either go this way or that way. You get to the same spot because his house is right in the middle, so you can take either way you go. And so today there's actually a rock with a monument there that says this is the fork in the road. That
in planning, he used to have an expression, a prediction is very difficult, especially about the future.
Well, that is the truth.
So
I predict if I don't get back to work here, I'll be in trouble. So good night, everybody. And unless somebody's got a question for me, I love to talk, but
I might sign off too, unless someone has something for me.
By the way, I did just receive 10 more circuit boards for Whispersons, so I'm going to have Whispersons running out of something here.
Well, maybe I should get together with Gary, and maybe this is something for after Hamvention, or maybe we can actually talk about it at Hamvention about our actual deployment plan, because I mean, you know, we have the funding to deploy these things, you know, if they're here, and let's get them out the door and deploy them. So
I'd be thrilled to help with that. Just I don't think I'm probably not going to run out real soon. Is basically the good news.
Paul, did you get your circuit boards from the Chinese manufacturers? You have a domestic source?
No, these are all from China, JLC PCB.
Okay.
this last batch, boy, they really delivered these quickly, had them made quickly. But the order process, well, I have 3 circuit boards that, I've done within the last, month or a few weeks anyway, kind of before and after this tariff crap. First one went, it was in process, and then, oh man, there are tariffs on China, so they made it to me. I didn't have to pay anything extra. So work in progress was apparently okay. The next batch, I ordered them right after the tariffs were put in place, but nobody had a policy figured out how to deal with it yet. So they had the boards built and waiting to send out, and I get a note from them, from JLC. Oh, by the way, there's a 175% tariff or whatever. It was something like that on not on tax and shipment, but on the cost of goods. So if you want these boards, can you please pay this extra amount? So I wanted the boards, and I kind of figured that was going to happen. Something like that was going to happen anyway. So I paid it. Then the third one, which are the ones that just arrived on my doorstep today, part of the order process was they tack on 170, I think it's 175%, something like that, on the boards when you order them. But again, it definitely increases, the cost of production here. Anything I do now, I'm going to have to jack up the prices. So yeah, order these Whispersons quick, because old inventory, I decided I'm not going to jack up the prices on stuff I've already built. But new ones are probably going to, well, they're definitely going to cost at least a little bit more. But anyway, these ones arrived, no drama. I didn't get a call from DHL saying, oh, to get these through customs, you got to pay extra. Although these DHL and UPS and FedEx, sometimes they're kind of slow about this, so it's possible I'll be getting a letter from the shipper saying, oh, there were additional charges and you now owe us, $75 or something. That has happened before. This time it hasn't happened yet. We'll see. Maybe the tariff, the prepayment, took care of all that. So that's what's been happening. And even at that 175%, it's still a lot cheaper than any of the quotes I've seen previous. It's been a while, but from domestic sources. So
yeah,
it's more expensive, but bringing it, doing it in the U.S. would be even more expensive. So I don't know.
JLC has a page up now that details their policy. A lot of them have gotten that far now. And JLC's policy, at least as of yesterday or a day before, was that they, for the US, just for us, they don't know what the tariffs really are going to amount to. So they add on 175%, which is, or, make it 175%, which they assume is the maximum that it could ever be. And they will refund it if it turns out to be less later on.
Yeah, that was mentioned on when I placed this order. Yeah, I don't know if the refund is going to be actual dollars in my hand or if it's going to be credit. I've got credit building up at JLC for, parts I ordered that ended up being, special parts that I needed that they ordered, and then they ended up being a little bit cheaper than, what they thought. So I get credit, and you can use that credit on new orders, although I haven't figured out how to do that yet. But at some point it'll build up to be enough that it'll make sense to figure out how to use it.
Okay.
So we'll see. Yeah, maybe it will end up being less than that 175%. We'll find out.
Useful information. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Paul, should I just send you an email regarding ordering these things?
Well, yeah, no, let's start with that anyway. Yeah, and let me know when, because I've got like 8 of them here in Friday Harbor, and I wasn't planning on bringing them down with me I'm going to be down south in California for just about a month, going to Dayton and then hanging around until my grandson gets out of school. And then we all come back up to Friday Harbor and he gets to spend his summer vacation most of the time up here. So, I can ship out some well, if I don't hear otherwise, I'm not planning on bringing down my entire inventory to California. I've got a few down there.
Okay,
So
well, I'm definitely planning on ordering 10.
Okay.
So I'll send you an email about that, and then I guess you can send us a quote, and then that, and I guess we need the whisper sound and the filter combiners.
Yeah, and I got new boards for. I'm gonna sell you a more expensive filter combiner. This is the one that's got the 9-band. It's got an all toroid design, so
Okay.
it's more labor intensive. But the thing is pretty bulletproof. The old one, using the surface mount inductors, it worked fine. If the antenna was nicely matched, but I've seen enough installations where the antenna match is kind of marginal, and in some cases, those toroids get hot. I mean, not the toroids, the surface mount inductors get hot. Never had any, melt the solder and fall off the board or burst into flames, but enough that I'm worried about it. So, going with the toroid design, again, it's bulletproof. I don't think anybody's going to have any troubles with it. And I got boards, and I got a few of those made, and I'm prepared to make more of those. So yeah, so let's do the email. If we just say, whatever you order, it can be delivered within a month, then wherever I am, I'll be able to have enough for you.
That sounds great.
Okay.
And then once I have them in hand, I'll probably have you send them to Scranton. And then once they're in Scranton, I can probably work with Gary to figure out where we're actually going to distribute them.
Yeah, no, I'll work with you whatever makes sense. But yeah, let's start with email and we can fine tune it from there. And all the other stuff that you're going to need, the Bodnar or other GPS DO, and
Yes.
Connectors and cables and all that stuff. But
yep. Yeah,
okay.
so I've got I need the Leo Bodnar. I said we're using an 80-meter end fed half-wave.
Yeah, there's a less expensive one than what we'd originally quoted. The myantennas.com guys have the one we've been using is like, works up to a kilowatt or something, but they have one that's designed for 100 watt. I guess it just uses a smaller transformer in the box, and it's a little bit cheaper. And
okay,
so we should probably go for that one just to save a buck or two.
Yeah, definitely. That sounds great. All right,
I look forward to your email. I am on the road starting.
Yeah.
I get on the ferry boat.
I just sent you the email.
Okay, great. I'll take a look at that.
It's a very short email, but that way we
That's
can
all right.
just get things started.
Yeah. I get on the ferry boat to the mainland and then drive south 900 miles starting tomorrow morning. So I'll take a look at your email tonight though, but yeah, if we can work with my 1 month.
Yeah, that's very
window.
workable. Absolutely.
Okay, good. That'll make it easier for me.
Yeah, that's not a problem.
Great. Looking forward to seeing these things out there. Yeah, so far haven't had any complaints with the ones that are in the field and running. So I think it's going to be a solid little transmitter for you.
Great, thank you.
Look forward to seeing you next week.
And tomorrow morning, Owen and I get to entertain something like 74th graders in 3 groups for 30 minutes each. And somehow we have to convince them all to become ham radio operators in that time. So
yeah, and then engineers after that.
That's right. Or both ham radio operators and engineers, right?
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So
It's never too young to start.
so that's what Owen and I will be doing tomorrow morning.
Figured I'd take the chocolate out of the station too. Probably a good idea.
Probably hide that.
Okay. Good night, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Night.
Have a good night.
Good night, everybody.
Thanks.
Good night.
7 3s.